I just wanted to make a quick video here. So, the question I have posed here is Nico Harrison Satan himself? Um, Hard to tell, but the last couple days we've gotten some serious, I guess, evidence that he possibly is Satan himself. Um, yeah, so let's break down the heinous crimes committed to the Dallas Maverick fan base. First here, we're going to go with the Real GM wiretap. Patrick Dumont wants to Mavs to hire experienced exec to work with Nico Harrison. This is exactly what you want to match up evil, maniacal megalomaniac with, is someone else to tell them things that they don't agree with. I have here highlighted in the red from this article from April 23rd. Patrick Manad is not there yet. He's not there yet. The Nico and Twist Widowy and Twist era has ended. He wants to bring an experienced exec. I think he's realized he's got to have some checks and balances that work in place. Yeah, but there's one very minute issue with that. Nico Harrison is incapable of listening to other people and other people's opinions. He cannot be anything other than the largest person in the room. Biggest bird, if you will. Moving over to NBA analysis, yeah. Well, I'm one taking this. I don't care. Tim MacMahon responds to Nico Harrison claims that he did not know legal popularity with the Dallas Maverick fans. I don't understand how you can underestimate the popularity of a player. Full stop right there. The sentence goes on. Who is fresh off of leading your franchise to the final. Look, simply put, if you're in a position of power in an NBA franchise and you don't understand where that player ranks in, I don't know, jersey sales, perhaps, maybe you shouldn't be anywhere near a management position, let alone an executive position. Bleacher Report, Nico Harrison reportedly felt Nico Doncic held Maverick hostage amid injury recovery. We're getting to the big article that our boy Tim posted, and that's going to be a little later on here in my discussion. But that's bullshit. That's just an excuse. We know this. Going to the Sports Illustrated article that summarizes some information found in the Tim MacMahon article from ESPN. I like the conclusion at the end here. I like the conclusion that people are trying to put rational thoughts on someone who has displayed themselves to be very mentally unwell, which is probably what you're looking for in an executive. That's kind of the vibe I've gotten from healthcare executives who happen to be visiting a hotel in New York. But not just them. I shouldn't just single out healthcare because, is it really seemingly far-fetched to think that an evil, maniacal megalomaniac who has a hatred for the organization that he works for would sabotage his own team and his own star? You be the judge. Let's go to this next page of information that I have here. So what can these actions say? These actions I'm talking about right here. What do these actions say? Well, there's two kind of conclusions combined here that I've come to here. Is that both Nico Harrison is incompetent and Nico Harrison is mentally unwell. So going through the conclusions that I've drawn, whether they're right or wrong, I don't really care because I'm just some random voice on the internet. Nico Harrison makes impulsive decisions for self-gratification of ego, obviously does not have any basketball acumen, such as hiring fitness coaches who have never worked in basketball, and not understanding the importance of his best player. He also makes outrageous and false claims about team injury history. And then the source cited in my incompetence section is hiring a former NFL fullback who's worked for college football and then calling him a world-class talent at basketball fitness. Something that I believe would be described as the ravings of a lunatic madman, the absolute incomprehensible mental gymnastics required to think that someone who's worked at UCLA college basketball would be competent in any of the 30-odd teams in the NBA is illogical at best and laughable at worst. That's not the point here. The real point here is that Nico Harrison is mentally unwell. Yes, I am making this bold claim. And I'm using the same first point here. Make impulsive decisions for self-gratification of ego. And looking at the SB Nation article, which uses the term megalomaniac. That's the source that kind of inspired me to sit down and yell into my microphone and peek it. You see, it's one thing to have an objective for a team, which I think most teams, number one's probably make money. Probably. And number two is probably to be successful to make more money. Getting rid of your best player does neither of these things. There cannot be a logical reason for it. This is kind of the final thing I want to talk about here. Obviously, the ESPN article, Tim MacMahon, firings, cheerleader energy, lost trust, what really led to Luka Doncic trade. Read that article. That this is, if anything, this is a free plug to that ESPN article. It's a brilliantly written article. But the other thing is that looking at 3 months ago, so it's April 23rd right now, so whenever the hell 3 months before, according to this Redditor, this top 1% poster, this Cheetah Sperm 18. Yeah, just letting that sink in for a second. I see here that well, okay, two things. One is the top comment, which I left. When this happened, it was a lot easier to find discourse online from other nameless, faceless individuals who were convinced that Nico Harrison had something against white players. I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying it was drastically more prevalent before, obviously, the death threats and stuff. If you type in Nico Harrison racist or Nico Harrison white players or something, you hear about the death threats he got, which never cool. Edgy perspective could be very funny, but never cool. Based, perhaps, as the kids would say, to threaten the lives of evil, maniacal executives. My words, evil. My words. But the point of this is to say, totally lost the court of public opinion on this guy. There's nothing that Pat, whatever the hell his name is, Mark Cuban Jr., if you will, there's nothing he can say or do that's going to change how people feel about this. And this is kind of like the nail in the coffin quote. Again, great article. Go read the article. The nail in the coffin thing here is that Nico Harrison totally has no perception of reality. Here's my Hugh Laurie.